that first prayer, we give thanks to God for our breath, for being alive, for being able to join together this beautiful Shabbat morning. And as we join together as a community for our Temple Shir Shalom Shabbat morning service, we invite you to do a few things. One, it's always nice to know who's a part of our community. And as you're watching, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you find yourself watching this, just post a little Shabbat Shalom or a hello, or let us know where you're watching from, so that we know you're a part of our community this morning as we celebrate Shabbat services. As we go through our Shabbat morning service today, we'll be using our prayer book and a few things that we'll post for you to be able to see as well. And if you're interested in following with the prayer book and using that to read the words of our prayers and our songs, then we invite you to go to the YouTube page and type in, or go to YouTube and type in Temple Shir Shalom. And under our resources page, you'll be able to pull up our Shabbat morning service and follow along with us. For those who have the tradition of wearing a tali, I invite you to join with me in saying the words of our prayer, thanking God for commanding us to wear this garment of our responsibility. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hitatef b'tzitzit. And we continue with our service on page 57 as we thank God for our soul which you have given us, which is pure, which God created and formed, as we join with Cantor and Elohai Neshama.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shanatata bi Tehorati, Atabarata, Atayitzarta, אתה נפחת בי, אתה משמרה בקרבי. אלוהי, אלוהי, נשמה, שנתת בי Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shanatata bi Tehorahi.
Well, we wish a Shabbat Shalom to Shell and to Dean and to Michael, who have let us know that they are with us on YouTube. And we invite you and anybody else that's with us to join with us on page 56 of our prayer books as we read the words of Elu Divarim. These are the obligations in life which have no bounds. They are the responsibilities in which we must participate if we are to enjoy the fruits of this world and any world to come, performing acts of love and kindness, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, welcoming guests, visiting the sick, celebrating with the wedding couple, honoring our parents, consoling the bereaved, being devoted to prayer, achieving peace where there is strife. But the study of Torah is equal to them all because it leads to them all. Our tradition is that we invite you to do whatever's comfortable for you when it comes to some of our prayers of standing or sitting. We'll tell you when traditionally we would stand or sit. And as we do that, if you find it meaningful to stand, please do so. Or if you're comfortable in your couch or your bed or wherever you find yourself this morning as you watch and are part of services, we invite you to remain in that position too. And we do that as we invite you to join with us as we rise together for our call to worship on page 65.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. ברוך Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
And on page 68 of our prayer books, these enduring words have been a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path.
Faith and choice bring understanding to the soul and sensitivity to the heart.
In all times and places, our God has been a part of our lives.
Our faith has been our rock and our help.
We watched God's wonders when we went free from Egypt.
When slavery's chains were broken, we witnessed it.
May those who have the faith to believe also have the wisdom to be kind.
O God, in whom we have all hope, we glorify your name now as our people have praised you throughout history. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef leleh. Tzur Yisrael, koma b'ezrat Yisrael, uv'dei chilomecha Yehuda v'Yisrael, golenu Adonai tzvaot shemo, kedosh Yisrael. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef leleh. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
And in preparation for the Amidah, we take a moment for our own private meditations, either following the words of our prayer book on page 70 or those our hearts might prompt as we rise together.
Yiyu leratzon imre צורי וגואלי. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי אגיד תהילתך. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
We sanctify your name on earth, even as your holiness is proclaimed in the heavens above and throughout time and space. In the words of the prophet Isaiah, we say, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The fullness of the whole earth is God's glory.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech ol haaretz, Kevodo. Baruch kavod Adonai, mimakomo. Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohai Zion, ledor vador. Hallelujah.
To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed is Adonai, the holy God. Please be seated. Our God and God of our ancestors, accept our rest as a sacrifice of time and space. Let us share in your world by celebrating creation day by day. Purify our hearts so that we might be honest and upright, forgiving and compassionate. Blessed are you, O God of truth, who helps us to make the Sabbath a part of our life and our heritage of joy. Look with favor, O God, upon your people Israel, and receive our prayers with love. May it be your will to accept our worship and our deeds. Blessed are you who alone we serve in reverence. Eternal source of good, we thank you for the numberless gifts and blessings that fill our days, for life itself and its endless variety, for all that sustains body and mind, for love and friendship, for the delights of the senses, and for the excellence of your Torah, which deepens our life and enriches our days. Help us, O God, to work for a just and compassionate society, where all may share your gifts and the joy of freedom. For all of this, your name shall be blessed and praised forever.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שביעי שבת, כולם יספרו ויתן גם טובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת, זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת.
Those who keep the Sabbath and call it a delight shall rejoice in your majesty. All who hallow the seventh day shall find happiness in your goodness. This day is Israel's festival of the Spirit, sanctified and blessed by you. The most precious of days, a symbol of the joy of creation.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova, uveracha. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Oh, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova, uveracha.
Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country that it may always be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all lands, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Blessed is the eternal God, the source of peace. We continue with the service for the reading of Torah on page 79 of our prayer books. It shall come to pass in the fullness of time that the mountain of the Eternal's house shall be established as the highest mountain and raised above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. And many people shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Eternal, to the house of the God of Jacob. Then we may be taught the ways of our God and walk in the path of the Almighty.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kamasecha. Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim.
This morning, as we pull out our Torah and study as we've been doing for this week, we pull out beginning of our book of Exodus, the first parsha that is within it, called Shemot, just like the name, the Hebrew name of the book of Exodus. And it's a story that all of us, I would imagine, are familiar with, because it's a story that we read at Passover time as well. It begins our Passover journey. In this week's portion, we learn about Moses, his birth, and his rise to the connection that he has with God of receiving that prophecy or these words at the burning bush as he's working as a shepherd, and then making his way back into the land of Egypt to ask Pharaoh to let God's people go, to let them be free to be able to worship God. But it's the beginning of the portion where Moses is actually pulled out of the water that I'm going to have Cantor read this morning, that she's going to read for us. And the reason is because there's a beautiful commentary in the story of Eitz Chaim. Excuse me, in one of our Chumashim, known as Eitz Chaim, put together by the conservative movement. And in it, the comment is referring to the verse which Cantor will read, where where Pharaoh's daughter pulls a little baby, a Hebrew baby, out of the Nile River and raises him as her own. And the question that was asked by the rabbis in the commentary is, why is it that this Egyptian princess is down in the Nile River bathing, a mighty river filled with crocodiles? Wouldn't it be that servants would bring water to the palace for her to be able to bathe? And the commentaries share a couple of different ideas. Bar Yochai shares and suggests that perhaps she was an idealistic adolescent, opposed to her father's policy of murdering the Israelite children, that she went to bathe in the Nile as a way of simultaneously identifying with Israel at the place of its suffering and cleansing herself of her father's defiling policies. One idea. Another idea, a beautiful commentary also in Eitz Chaim, talks about, actually comes from the Babylonian Talmud, where another commentator sees Pharaoh's daughter as going along with her father's policies until she saw that it endangered a Hebrew child. And until that moment, the Israelites for her had been an abstraction, and she was prepared to believe the worst about them. But once she encountered an innocent, vulnerable Israelite, she recognized her common humanity with them. As Jews, as a Jewish community, I think that this week has been a challenging one for our nation, but for us especially, because we often find ourselves having that similar idealistic views that Baruch Yochai suggests that Pharaoh's daughter had. Because of the story of our people that we read in this week's portion and what follows in the book of Exodus, we've become champions for the disenfranchised, the downtrodden, and the destitute. And we've worked to better that condition, just as we've been commanded. But it's also important to act in the way that's suggested in the Talmud, that like Pharaoh's daughter, when we see that our policies, our laws, our lawmakers, or even our leaders are wrong, or when they endanger others, then we must speak out, and we must act upon those. And whether it's making a difference in the way that Pharaoh's daughter does by her own actions, or for us by supporting those who are in a position to do so, we have an obligation to act and to speak up. Otherwise, we'll lose that idealistic vision of what our country, of what our nation can be. And I'm not just talking to one side here. I think that it doesn't matter which camp politically you fall in, that there's work that all of us can do, that when we put hate speech out there, that it affects things. It changes our destiny, changes what we can do, what we can create, the way that we can sit down with other people. And this week, I think Pharaoh's daughter is the one who should motivate us, who speaks to us, who should inspire us to stand up anytime we see something's wrong. When somebody's speaking out, when somebody's acting in a way that's not appropriate, that we have an obligation to speak out against that. So that may that be our message from this week's portion that Cantor will chant for us. And so Cantor, as we will see, will be chanting from chapter 2, the first few verses that are in it, and we join together in the blessing for the reading of Torah. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach, Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vaed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. ותרד בת פרעה לרחוץ על האור, ונערותיה הולכות על יד האור, ותרד התיבה בתוך הסוף, ותשלח את אמתה ותיקחיה. ותפתח ותראהו את הילד, והנה נער בוכה, ותחמול עליו, ותאמר, מי לא יודע העברית זה, ותאמר אחותו אל בת פרעה, האלך, וקראתי לך אישה מנקת מן העבריות, ותינק לך את הילד. ותאמר לה בת פרעה, לכי ותלך העלמה, ותקרא את אם הילד. ותאמר לה בת פרעה, הליכו את הילד הזה, והניקיהו לי, ואני אתן את שכרך. ותיקח האישה הילד, ותניקהו.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. With thoughts of Torah in our minds, we know that Torah has given strength to our people for thousands of years. And so we hope that it continues to give us and our loved ones strength for those who are in need of a refuah shlema, for those who are in need of a complete healing. And so we cite the words of Mishiberach, asking that God watch over them, look after them, and grant them that refuah shlema. Mishiberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel, v'yivarech et acholim. Merciful God, who blessed our ancestors, blessed our loved ones who are stricken with illness or anxiety. Alyssa, Larry Burke, Grace Geraldine Carafelli, Von Seal Campbell, Karen Kasman, Ezra Chaim Ben Devora, Bethany Engel, Gary Fishman, Barb Flair, Sandy Flair, Karen Garassi, Kathy Gilman, Sylvia Goldman, Sandy Gorosh, Batya Badbeshya Panina, Susan Greenberg, Charles Gross, Sherry Gutter, Hank Heiser, Stuart Hike, Sarah Jacobson, Bruce Kay, Serafina Coffin, Melissa Coltano, Emily Levin, Marta Lazar, Henry Leopold, Francisco Leva, Michael Malley, Zoe Marcus, Beth Margolin, Joyce Meza, Aviva Bat Yosef Halevi Miriam, Amanda Morrow, Perry Moss, Lori Moss, Scott Miles, Kate Negron, Rabbi Robert Nosenchuk, Marjorie Penzine, Melanie Pohl, Barbie Joan Ryder, Jody Richmond, Alan Rosen, Mona Rosenbaum, the Saint Amand family, Amy Selmanoff, Diane Silverstein, Suzanne Zalesnik Smith, Chaim Shmuel Ben Noach, Kochav Ben Noach, Bill Vigelius, Malka Sarah Batita, Helene Wolf, all those battling the coronavirus both at home and in the hospital, the 20,149 American troops who have been injured in Iraq and Afghanistan to date, as well as all the names in our hearts. May God grant them a refuah shlema, a complete healing of mind, of body, and of spirit.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha liavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
In addition to our prayers for healing, we ask that God's partners in healing and those whose work allows our needs for survival to be met, may they also be blessed. Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, bless all those who put themselves at risk to care for the sick. Bless those who continue to go above and beyond, everyone who puts the needs of others above their own. And bless those who navigate the unfolding dangers of the world each day, tending to those they have sworn to help. Bless them in their coming home and bless them in their going out. Ease their fear, sustain them. Source of all breath, healer of all beings, protect them and restore their hope. Strengthen them that they may bring strength. Keep them in health, that they may bring health. Help them know again a time when they can create breath without fear. Bless the sacred work of their hands, and may this plague pass from among us speedily and in our days. Together we rise for our concluding prayers, I believe on page 91, for the words of the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shbeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים
Nothing can fill the emptiness that a death leaves behind. Those who are no longer a physical presence are still alive within our thoughts and our words. Their memories are only a part of the picture. So long as we recall their presence and their warmth, their friendship, their heart, mind, and thought are still within our soul. We honor and cherish the ones we love by living our lives to the fullest. And so on this Shabbat, we think of those friends and family who have been taken from us in these most recent days, who Shiva, Shloshim, and Shana we mark. Russ Kip Moore, Albert Resnick, Mort Zemberg, Lily Weiss, Aaron Schwartz, Alexander Milberger, Margaret Montross, Carolyn Rivka Letterman, Dickie Lewiston, Krista Brash, Celia Katz, Paul Rakosi, Marilyn Gavazda, Terry Dresco, Ruth Mary Ashton, Fanny Zuckerman, the 2,452 Americans in our armed forces lost in Afghanistan and the surrounding areas to date, and the 368,953 Americans who have lost their lives to the coronavirus. And to their names, we add those whose yard-sites we mark, those of whose anniversary of passing we lovingly commemorate. Sidney Alexander Jr., Edith Averbuck, Rosalind Block, Rose Cooperstock, Leroy Dunn, Gertrude Ehrlich, Robert Felder, Bertha Goldberg, Larry Gutenberg, Stella Himmelstein, Samuel Zalman Hirschman, Harry Cousins, Muriel Elaine Krefman, Marvin Magar, Abraham Marcus, Bernice Muckamal, Sala Muckamal, Eleanor Miles, Bennett Ben Nathan, Jerry Oram, Marjorie Pastor, Erwin Roth, Ida Sanders, Dorothy Silk, Sylvia Sloan, Jack Saul, James Varon, Harvey Vinton, Jeffrey Vinton, Jeffrey Yellen, along with all the names in our hearts and those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Do we join together in the immortal words of the mourner's Kaddish as found on page 96 of our prayer books. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayachon uvyomachon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam omei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'krusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Chushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Huyaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all the bereaved among us here and everywhere, as together we say, Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav. Huyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos, Cantor. Brian behind the scenes, thanks for doing everything you're doing to make sure this works and runs smoothly so that we can all be together as a community. And it's wonderful that we've been able to join together this Shabbat morning and to be able to be a part of a community. And some other things that are coming up that we want to make sure that you are aware of. We've got a lot of great things happening this week. Sunday morning Minyan is happening tomorrow morning. Monday morning musings on Monday morning with Rabbi Mike. Tuesday, we have our next Hot Topics class, which is going to be a discussion talking about what happens to the soul, according to Judaism, after we die. It's at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. It's open. You can sign up for that. There's no charge for that. As well as we are continuing our Hebrew classes on Tuesday evening. Our beginner Hebrew classes are happening Tuesday night. On Wednesday, we have our monthly trivia night that's going to be happening at 8 o'clock. Some great prizes, gift certificates to local restaurants, and just a fun evening. And for those of you looking for a clue for one of the topics, I will let you know that one of our 6 categories for the night is going to be Detroit Pistons. So if you are up on your Detroit Pistons and think you're good, this might be the trivia night for you to be a part of. And if you don't have a group that you want to play with and you want to find a group, we're happy to help connect you with some other members of Temple, community members that are playing, and put you as part of a team too. So just let us know as you sign up for that. We'll be happy to do that. On Thursday, we have another Lunch and Learn series that is beginning, which is going to be our American Jewish History Lunch and Learn. We have 3 different classes at noon over the next few weeks on Thursdays, digging through the archives of American Jewish history, and it should be a fun and exciting lunch and learn. So we hope you'll join us for that too. And then we are back to Shabbat. So what a wonderful week that's going to be. And I'm looking on YouTube and on our Zoom screen, and I don't see any Tish questions that have popped up yet. But thank you, Pat Shink, for that nice compliment. We greatly appreciate that. So seeing as there's no Shabbat Tish questions for the moment, we will raise our cups and we will join together with Cantor, thanking God for the sweetness of this day of Shabbat and the time that we've been able to spend together.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. We say l'chaim.
Adonai oz le'amo yitain. May God bless you with strength. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May God bless all of us, here and everywhere, with peace. Shabbat shalom.